let's jump right in to one of the few things that's on the screen today, which is red and really, really red, which is big blue IBM. I do look at this chart regularly. As of yesterday, I had no special disposition toward it, which is a shame because it's lost about a quarter of its value today. It's getting just blasted. I think I read this was the biggest drop since the 1960s in this thing, percentage-wise. And there's a lot happening in the tech world, of course, and we're not in earnings season yet for tech companies. IBM's probably 2 or 3 weeks off. But they wanted to give us the heads up that you're not going to like what you see. And it was at a lifetime high not that long ago, just back here. And as you can see, we are back to prices that actually today equal what they were in October 2024. So almost 2 years of progress undone. So yeah, the big loser today, IBM. But as I mentioned this morning, it wasn't that long ago in market history that if IBM was down 25%, it would be an epic crash across all markets around the world. Today it's just like IBM who? Oh yeah, and it doesn't even matter. So it's really having no knockoff effects to anybody else. The diamonds are down all of a penny right now. It shows you how, it shows you what a wipeout is flowing from IBM. And they haven't even broken their trend line. The ascending trend line from March 30 is just rock solid. We kissed it perfectly today. Maybe we'll break it tomorrow. Could absolutely be. But as it is now, it has not broken the uptrend. These earnings seasons always start with the big banks. You get your Wells Fargos, your JP Morgans, your Citibanks, and so forth. JPM came out this morning. They opened very weak, and they're trading at lifetime highs right now. Lifetime high on an intraday basis, lifetime high at the present price level. So if it closed right now, it'd be a new high. They whatever concerns folks had on their earnings report have quickly been dispatched. And we can see that expressed in the more broad ETF XLF. This is the finance ETF. Intraday lifetime highs, maybe a lifetime high close on this one. This will be the week for the big banks report, and the next week is when it gets more interesting with more of the household names that we all know. Now, with that chilly CPI news, because it wasn't just slower inflation, in some cases it was deflationary, completely attributable to the drop we saw in energy prices. And therefore, we did get an instant rally across the board. In a lot of cases, that rally was diminished. In fact, early on today, about half an hour into the trading day, it looked like we might even wind up with a red day. But I guess Kevin Warsh is saying the right things in front of the house. So we are still green. TLT is up a little. It, broadly speaking, has been in its own bear market for years now, 6 years going. And even though it's fairly steady these days, it's certainly not poised for any kind of rally. We've spent the past couple of weeks tumbling, and sure, we're a little bit green today, but it's get your electron microscope out if you want to kind of see what difference it makes. The real battering in bonds ended back in the autumn of 2023. Since then, it's been kind of a unmitigated bore fest. As far as IWM goes, this one spiked huge on the news about the CPI, but gave up a lot of that. It is up now just about 0.25%. We have broken the trend line in this case, so this is much more vulnerable. We first pierced it here, clambered back inside, and then past couple of days neatly below that trend line. So we have broken this one, and this I think is absolutely prone to more weakness. I really don't trade precious metals the way I used to, but it's interesting to watch these today as well. When the news came out, when the CPI came out, gold, just like everything else, went roaring higher. It's still up, but Definitely not any kind of red letter day. It's up about 1.33%. All it's done is go back to the price levels it was trading on Friday. And as with bonds, it's been in its own private bear market, although much, much younger. This one peaked on January 29 in a very dramatic fashion. And you can see over just 2 trading days, an enormous range. And it's been just stumbling its way lower. And I imagine the next level of support will be something like around this area with this convergence of this long-term uptrend as well as this big price gap, something around here, but it's still got a little ways to go, I would say. As far as silver goes, it also is up, but it also has been down for months. And it is below this major price gap and a very important right triangle top. I'll see if I can whip up a quick, there we go, bang. There's a nice, neat descending trend line showing where resistance has been. And you can see the right triangle very clearly. And we broke below it, we pushed our way higher, couldn't even get to the base and are bleeding out lower again. So I don't think silver's done selling off either. Now, with the on-again, off-again war, crude oil has been dynamic. Crude oil right now is, this is a really cool chart from the perspective of seeing how support and resistance can change roles. Because just let me point at this one trend line. This trend line anchored like so. As you can see, it was resistance for a very long time. It never got above it. And then it exploded above it naturally right after the war was announced on the weekend. So here's before the war was announced at the weekend, and then it for the first time ever, zipped above that trend line. Up we go, and then down, down, down. Check this out. Look what happens. Look where it stops. Is that amazing? It stops to the penny at that trend line. Show you a different angle of this here. There's the blue trend line. Zoom a little bit tighter. There's blue trend line. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Change roles. Now it's support. And so boing, up we go. And so what's next? Well, probably it's just about done, I would say. I mean, if you look at all this overhead supply, it's probably just about done with its lift. So that's, I don't have any energy positions now, but that would be my guess right now, that that oil pop is probably just about done. And if you believe that, you could do worse than thinking about, say, an XOP short, because it too is coming up against its own resistance line. Yesterday was a really good day on the short side for the semiconductors. There's definitely some fight back today in that area. For example, AXTI up almost 14%. AMD, which actually is, I haven't touched in a while. This is, it's so robust. It's very, very strong. So I'm not going near the thing. It's not even my bear pin watch list, but this is also up. SMH is up about 2 2/3%, but this is a still pretty broken behavior right here. So I don't think this is going to be long-lived. It is entirely possible we're going to cut below yesterday's lows before this week is out. And ARM isn't even benefiting from the semi-bounce. We have cut below to a new multi-month low, below that green support level for ARM holdings. And Intel, on the other hand, is recovering some of yesterday's loss. But here again, this is the key price gap, and it's been falling for a couple of weeks now. And so I think this bounce today is kind of a one-day wonder. Over in hyperscaling land, still seeing some weakness in spite of the strong day. CoreWeave down about 3.5%. And none of these patterns have really worked out yet, which is why I don't trade the thing. But it's interesting to see this start to break down kind of as it's supposed to. You know, will it actually get below even, say, this pattern right now? But I don't trust this thing. It's too, it doesn't follow through in my experience. Credo Technology, CRDO, barely changed right now, but this is a very pretty pattern. I'm short this right now. It opened strong today. It's trading weak right now. I'm already short. I might just add to this because it's a very, very good looking rounded top. Changing gears real quick. Carvana, CVNA, having a strong day. I've got January puts on this. This thing has been just bouncing around like a ping pong ball, so this is one of those really strong days. But my view here is that ultimately this will break away down from this diamond pattern. The puts I've got to have more than half a year on them, so I've got lots of time to wait. A similar company is CarMax, KMX, which interestingly is coming right up against its major price gap there. So that's a new short for me today, CarMax. Over in SpaceX land, oh my goodness gracious, I was going to say it's having a much needed recovery. Not anymore. It's at a new low. And the gentlemen were asking me this morning my views on it, and I'll just repeat what I said, which is that I think you're just going to see new lows after new lows after new lows. There is nothing holding this chart up. New highs beget new highs, new lows beget new lows. Here we got new lows. This could be a double-digit stock before autumn. I mean, this pace could be weeks, but yeah, very ugly stuff going on here. And you can see that the companies that were trading alongside before there was a SpaceX, anything with a rocket engine on it, those are doing quite poorly as well. Not only because there is a SpaceX now, but because they're not doing well. So Planet Labs, for example, Rocket Labs up a bit today, but it's a very ugly chart. China still like on the short side now. FXI. Got a short on this ETF today. I would say that stop loss should be right around that line level. BABA, I think, is another interesting individual Chinese short. And one that is already doing nicely today is Baidu, BIDU, which is breaking below that very well-formed head and shoulders pattern right there. And here's a new one for you, PDD. I just shorted this one about an hour ago. Here, too, we've got a nice reversal going away from that dashed red line. Last symbol, we're going to hit this right to the second. Today, bottom of the hour, plain old spider. And this is still a little scary for the 1 or 2 bears left out there. We are quite close to lifetime highs. It would take one good day to cut us above this range we've been trapped in for a couple of months. Hope it doesn't happen, but it absolutely could. But we're kind of at a state of equilibrium right now in that level. The past 4 trading days, we're just kind of stuck right now. So maybe it'll take earnings season to shake us out of that. All right, folks. Well, that's it from me. I'll see you here tomorrow. Thanks as always for coming by. Good night.